Have you ever noticed how people tend to treasure the things that they have struggled for, even though those things may not be objectively great? Someone can spend their entire life trying to build up a business and refuse to walk away from it, even though it may be destroying them. Someone can stay loyal in a relationship that is extremely toxic just because they've been through too much together. Why does suffering make those things feel more valuable? And more importantly, when does struggle create meaning, and when does it trap us? Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Sky, and here I like to do a little bit of whatever inspires me. So if you end up enjoying the video, feel free to like and subscribe. And yeah, let's just get right into the video. There is a strange psychological effect that affects almost every aspect of human life. The more pain, effort, sacrifice, or struggle we invest into something, it automatically makes it feel more valuable to us. And sometimes that's beautiful. It explains why discipline builds pride and why people cherish what they have fought for. But it also explains why people stay in horrible conditions like toxic jobs, unhealthy relationship dynamics, failing projects, or limiting lifestyles a lot longer than they should. Humans don't value things based purely on logic. We tend to value things based on emotional investment. For example, if somebody just hands you a chair, it's just a chair to you. But if you have spent 12 hours diligently looking through every corner of the internet to find a specific set of chairs, that set of chairs suddenly matters so much. Psychologists call this the IKEA effect, which I found very interesting when I was researching for this video, is where people place a higher value on things that they have helped create. Effort creates attachment, and suffering intensifies that attachment even more. And this is because suffering tells your brain that this must be worth something, otherwise why would we be enduring this? Think about athletes training through their pain, or students dealing with really hard classes in order to graduate and get their degree, or artists struggling for their art. The struggle becomes part of the meaning. The pain itself turns into evidence that something is important, and honestly, sometimes that's true. Many meaningful things do require a lot of sacrifice. The problem begins when we all just suddenly start believing the idea that if it hurts, it must be valuable. People hate feeling like their pain was wasted, like their squeeze was not worth the juice. So once we suffer for something, we become automatically psychologically motivated to try to justify the suffering. This is why people tend to defend relationships, refuse to quit failing ventures, stay loyal to harmful environments, glorify burnout, or romanticize struggle, because admitting this isn't worth it feels emotionally devastating to us. Imagine climbing up a mountain and then realizing halfway through that you're on the wrong one. A lot of people would rather continue climbing up that mountain, even though it's the incorrect one, than admit that they need to turn around. Not because continuing is wise, but because stopping would force them to confront all of the pain that they have already invested into climbing up the wrong mountain. This is connected to something that psychologists call the sunk cost fallacy. The sunk cost fallacy definition is a cognitive bias that drives people to continue a failing endeavor because they have already invested time, money, or effort into it. But past investment does not equal future value. Just because you have suffered for something in the past, no matter how long, it does not mean that it deserves a place in your future. And that idea alone could save so many people from years of misery, because suffering is not always proof of meaning. Sometimes suffering is just flat out suffering, and learning the difference is one of the most important skills a person can develop in their life. Not all suffering is bad. Some struggles do expand you, like going to the gym. It will get you stronger. Studying for your classes on late nights, it will get you that degree. Honest conversations can be uncomfortable, but it will deepen your relationship with that person that you have the conversation with. Healthy struggle tends to have these three characteristics. 1, it moves you towards growth. You become stronger, wiser, more aware, just overall you grow from this struggle. 2, the pain has direction. There is some kind of purpose behind the discomfort. And 3, it creates long-term peace, not chronic chaos. The process may be hard, but your life slowly becomes more stable, not destructive. Good struggle builds, bad struggle drains. And one of the hardest truths in this topic, I think, is that not every hard thing is worth enduring. Some pain is training for future endeavors, future life events, like it's that thing that toughens your skin. But some pain is just warning, and you have to put time to actually sit down and analyze and figure out which is which in your life. A lot of people do secretly believe that if they struggle so much for this one thing, then it will be the most important thing in their life. Or if they struggle a lot, then their life will have meaning. And that belief is literally everywhere. People wear exhaustion as a badge of honor. People brag about not sleeping. People glorify overwork. And they treat burnout as if it's proof of ambition. But suffering alone does not make somebody wise. It doesn't automatically make someone deep, and it's not proof of success in the future. Sometimes people cling to pain because they don't know who they are without it. If you have built your entire identity from the ground up since you were young around the idea of struggle and fighting so hard for literally everything, then peace and calm and safety is going to feel so unfamiliar and a little scary. And that's why a lot of people tend to like automatically fall back on recreating or seeking out chaos in their life. Not because they enjoy it, but because it's what feels familiar to them. It's what feels safe. And ultimately, struggle became so tightly wound around the idea of self-worth to these people to where they have to have that chaos. They have to struggle in order to feel like they are creating worth out of themselves. So don't ask, how much am I suffering for this thing? Ask, what is the suffering producing in my life? Because sacrifice is only meaningful if it brings you somewhere worthwhile. Before continuing down a difficult path, ask yourself, is this pain helping me grow or keeping me stuck? Am I becoming healthier or emptier? Would I advise someone that I love to be and stay in this situation? Am I here because I'm attached to the future possibilities, or am I here because I'm attached to the investment that I put in this thing? And these questions are so important. I'm so big on self-reflection and really just breaking down your situations and really thinking it through in a little bit more of a critical way. That's why I love journaling so much. It really can just unleash like all of the thoughts that you're harboring in your head or like your feelings. It's so important to just be able to get your thoughts down on paper, because then you can look at things a little bit more objectively. And these thoughts, these questions that you're asking yourself, these things can literally change the direction that you're going to allow yourself to be in for a while. So I think it's really important to do some format of like reflection when you're in this kind of situation. And another important thing, you do not need to suffer in order for you to matter, for you to have worth. You don't need to suffer in order to have people care about you and love you. Your worth is not dictated by how much you suffer for something. That's one of the biggest themes in all of these videos that I do, is like your self-worth is not dictated or tied to pretty much anything else in the world. But a lot of people truly do believe that love, success, rest, or happiness have to be earned in a painful way in order for it to actually be yours. But your value as a human being is not measured by how much pain you are able to tolerate. Not everything has to be like a movie to where you endure the biggest pain of your life and it will like be the most fruitful thing at the end of the story. Sometimes it's just not for you, and that is okay. You don't need to see things through to the end and fight the good fight all the time, especially when it's like objectively looking at it. There's going to be no fruit to your labor. Knowing when to walk away or have the good fight requires honesty, not pride. The truth is like a lot of like really meaningful things in life will require you to struggle. Love requires a lot of vulnerability and a lot of sacrifice, and you're learning a whole new human being. It's gonna be a struggle. Mastering an art requires a lot of discipline and practice and frustration that you're not going to get it on the first try. Growth requires a lot of discomfort and looking inward at the ugly and good sides of yourself. But suffering itself is not sacred. You should not, and I really implore you guys to not just stay loyal to pain just because you have spent a lot of time enduring it. Just because it's an old friend, it doesn't mean you need to stay in contact with them. The real goal is not to avoid all struggles in life. It is learning how to properly choose the struggles in your life that will help you build and work towards a life that you want to live. Because like I've said, like the best kind of struggle is the ones that lead you towards more happiness, more freedom, more wealth if it's a work thing that you are struggling with. But the worst kind of suffering is the kind of suffering that only teaches you how to keep on suffering. It's going to be a perpetual loop of just suffering because you're suffering, because you're suffering, and because you're suffering. It will never end. It's like the circle of life from The Lion King. It will never end. I feel like this is something that a lot of people, pretty much every human being probably has done at least once in their life, probably many more times though, realistically speaking. And like I did this with my high school video, but it's like the media does have such a like heavy influence on how we view how like our life are supposed to be, our relationships, everything. We look at media that we are fed our entire lives, look at that and be like, that's how we're supposed to be. And then we start functioning in accordance with it. And the glorification of like the tortured artist, or like we have to be in like a bad place to have things create meaning. It's such a fascinating topic to me. And so that's why I did like a little video about this. I don't think anybody should have to think that like suffer creates meaning. I don't think that that is the case. And of course, like I'm at a different point in my life too where like that makes a lot of sense to me, but being like deeply emotional at 13, like that was like the thing. That was what my life, that if you had to look at my life, that was probably the definition of it. Suffering created meaning in my life for such a long period of time. But I don't think that that's right. I don't think it's healthy, obviously. I was watching a video and this girl literally said in passing that we tend to put value on things that we have suffered for. And I was like, oh my God, that's so true. So I wanted to make a video about it because it's so intriguing to me how we all as humans, like we are drawn to the thing that hurts us. We tend to like push ourselves so vigorously through pain just because we have a belief that it's going to be worth it. And oftentimes we're not even shown the worth of that thing. We're not shown the fruits of our labor sometimes, but we still continue with like the next endeavor that we do the same process. And I think it's so intriguing. Humans are so fascinating. Yeah, I did a lot more research for this topic, I feel like, than some of my other videos in the past. So let me know if you enjoyed like a little bit more of like a psychology-backed video. I've done a few of those before because I was a psych student, so we have a little bit of knowledge up in this noggin, believe it or not. So yeah, that's all I have for you today. Let me know what you've thought. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.